Alrighty, so I went and saw Predator Badlands last night. It is Sunday morning now, and as much as I wanted to make a review yesterday and get it posted, I was just too tired. But going into the movie, I will say my expectations weren't bad. They were excited. I was partially worried, because there is the whole aspect that it's so different from other Predator movies that it might be off-putting. And I will say it's different from other Predator movies, but it is not really different from modern movies we have seen, if that makes sense. It definitely reminded me of an MCU movie in both good and bad ways. But I'm going to talk about just the movie without spoilers and then get into spoilers afterwards. So this movie, Predator Badlands, is the newest Predator movie from the same director who did Prey and Predator Killer of Killers. And me personally, I think that's very nice because he has a vision and a goal, and they have basically seamlessly all connected to some aspect and has just a nice goal he wants to go towards. It's not a Star Wars sequel trilogy problem where, hey, we're going to have one guy do the first movie. Oh, what are we doing for the second movie? I don't know. Hire this guy. Oh my god, bring back the first guy. None of that. Because this movie does set up what I assume a second movie of potentially a trilogy or just a two-parter. But coming back from Prey and Killer of Killers basically still followed the same Predator formula, just different timelines. We did get to see a little bit of their culture at the end, not too much. This movie, I really, really appreciate that it doesn't really take place on Yautja Prime, but it shows us a bit of Yautja Prime, our main character Dek, his brother Kwai, and their father, and just their culture and relationship, and how hostile the planet is, and the culture. And something that I thank them for doing is that the Predator does not speak English. The Predator speaks the Yautja language. And there at no point do they try to do, oh, well, I'm wearing a universal translator, so you speak English now. They don't do that. Thankfully. I seriously appreciate them for doing that. And the movie gives you a reason why Dek looks the way he looks. When they first showed the trailer, so many people kept going, oh my god, this looks like ass, this looks like shit. He doesn't have this, the hair dreadlocks going to the sides, and why does he look so small, and this and that. And guess what, you morons? Watch the fucking movie, and they'll explain it. And I know it seems like I'm super pissed, but it's just one of those things where right out the gate, people kept going, oh, I could have designed that better. I could have done this better. How about you wait till the movie's out and they, sure, I guess if we went into the movie and they never explained why he's as tall as a normal human and this, that, and the other, sure, that'd be kind of weird. But it's explained virtually in the first 15 minutes. So all the people that are crying about it, it's like, can you get a grip? Also, it's not real. So how about you calm down? But they explain that. And then it sets off from there. The reasoning for the movie. And again, the movie is relatively predictable, but I still enjoyed it for what it is. It's a action movie that's got heart, emotion. Am I saying that it's gonna make you cry? No. It's pretty standard emotional tropes, but it works. I knew what they were going for and what they were setting up. I knew basically the entire movie. Not because I had it spoiled, because I've seen enough movies that I can guess pretty simply what's going to happen. But it still didn't ruin it for me. Even now, I want to go back and watch it already. It was a fun time. It's got good effects. And you know what? Here's another thing. Because I was partially kind of like this when they announced it was PG-13. People kept going, "Oh my God, this is the death of the franchise." I didn't go that crazy, but I did think, PG-13 Predator movie. How are you going to do that? But that's because I kept thinking. Well, I'm thinking back to Predator 1, 2, where it's nudity, ultra violence against humans and all that. And that was the thing I kept thinking. Oh, that's right. The MPAA so stupid. Fuck them. That they go, "Oh, you're only killing robots and aliens and it's gory and fake blood." Oh, well, you don't care. PG-13. Because there's not one human in the movie. It's all the Yautja and synths. So when a synth is getting its head ripped off or his neck slashed, it's just that white blood coming out. Or if it's a Yautja, it's the neon green blood. And again, the MPAA is just a bunch of dumbasses that they're like, "Oh, even though it's all movie, whether it was a human or not, oh, okay, this is fine." So it's PG-13, but there's a lot of violence and a lot of, alien gore and all that. It's a wonderful spectacle. And going back to Deck, the main character, the CGI looks great. As far as I'm aware, they had him in a prosthetic suit with CGI overlaid. That may be why it looks better than, some other CGI in other movies. But I loved seeing the emotion for Deck. And it's really just in his eyes. It's how the skin moves around his face and his eyes. It's so emotive, and it was great. Elle Fanning, she plays two different characters. I think she did a good job playing both. I think it was Thea and Thessa. Thessa being the more monotone, serious mom vibe, and Tessa is more of the calm, easygoing, more spirited one. So seeing her act with herself, kind of like Michael Fassbender, was neat. And it was another thing where you go, okay, please don't do an Alien Romulus where you deep fake Ian Holm. All right, just make another synthetic, please. Their introduction, because I kept thinking, how are they gonna meet? It works. It's an interesting idea of the story gets set up. The Predator lands on the world that he wants to go hunt in because he's given a choice, and when you find out in the beginning why he is the way he is, you also are told why he picks this planet and the alpha predator on that planet, which you see in the trailer. But you don't get to see why it's the alpha alien of that planet. It's such... You go, oh my, okay, well that's... How are you going to kill that? But... I mean, right from the get-go, the Predator lands on the planet. It's so nice. You're following the Predator now. I couldn't get over repeating myself to my friends about that. Every Predator movie is just... Predator lands on Earth, hunts someone, Predator dies. Every single time. You know what's going to happen. Because it's the same formula, quite literally, over and over again. So that's why they try to give you likable human protagonists. Which is not the worst thing in the world. It just starts becoming formulaic. Where I want to know more about the Yautja, the Predator. I want to know more about their culture. I want to see more about them. At the end of Killer of Killers, when they're on what I assume is a tournament game on Yautja Prime, I was like, oh, thank you, finally. Just, can you give me more? Oh my God. Jeez. So this movie, being solely Yautja focused, and showing them getting prepared for the hunt, how they choose the hunt, on the ship, getting on the planet, and interesting enough how this is, I think it's called the Death Planet, Genna. Right when Bro lands, he is already being attacked by trees. The trees kill people. And the trees are smart. They first take his weapons away when he's not looking to then try to get him. So everything is intelligent to some degree. And they do a wonderful job of, as he's exploring this planet, he's scanning things like, is it safe to eat or use, or even, whatever. And he's looking at different bugs, and when he finds Tessa and gets her to help him, because, again, his culture says you hunt alone. You don't rely on others. And so this story is the journey of him going on this planet to basically die, or be able to kill the most unkillable alien in this galaxy, come back and prove himself to his family. But then obviously as the movie goes along, he starts realizing, you know what? Fuck them. But it was neat to see the predator in the hunt. And they've set up now that to get the cloak, and I hate that I'm a dumbass, because the first time he said cloak, I kept thinking, like literally, like, oh, he's got to earn like a clan cape or something. And when he said it again, it clicked in my head, like, the invisible cloak. They have to earn that. Which was a new, nice little, I wouldn't say retcon, because again, they don't ever tell you any of this shit in the other movies. So it was a nice addition going, oh, prove yourself in the hunt, and you get, better and better gear to make the hunt, in essence, easier for you. Which is kind of weird, because you'd think the whole point would be you would want the hunt to not be so easy. But that was neat. And Deck talking to Tessa, great, because it's not like they have one conversation, he's like, you're right, I shouldn't be this way, what have I done? It's not like that. But they do introduce, this is where it felt very MCU like. They introduce a goofy, adorable monster thing to be the comic relief. How Godzilla and Kong had the baby Kong thing, and the MCU had baby Groot, and Star Wars had baby Yoda. This is the Predator franchise's that. For the most part, it didn't bother me, but they 100% put that in there to be the cutesy thing that they have to care for. And it does, goofy things where there are these two older gentlemen in the theater behind me. Whole theater's quiet. And the monkey dog thing, whatever, I think his name's Bud. Anytime he'd do anything, these two guys would just be dying laughing. So, obviously, there's a market for it. It just kind of confuses me a little bit where it's PG-13, it's clearly meant for an older audience, but you add this thing in where it almost feels like it's for kids. It was really weird. It didn't really bother me. It was just something where, by the end of the movie, I went, that was one thing that kind of tonally stuck out for me. But beside that, it was also nice that in this movie, it's has an alien reference quite a bit without involving an alien. It doesn't always have to be AVP, just subtle little world building things, because the main antagonist of the movie is the Weyland-Yutani Corporation and their synths. Now, what's funny is you don't get to see an original power loader, but just like the poster in the trailer shows you, they have, what looks like the mega Zord of power loaders. But it was cool, cool fight. I think it's a fun, good action movie, and I thank the director, I think his name's Dan Trachtenberg, for just doing something different with it. You can tell by now, because he's made Prey, Killer of Killers, and this, bro loves the Predator franchise, and he wants to explore more of these ideas. A Predator in feudal Japan, boom. Against Vikings, Boom. World War II. Okay, let's do that. The Native Americans fight. He wants to do more of the period pieces, but also he loves. I saw an interview where he said he originally wanted to call this movie Yautja. I don't know if it was Predator Yautja, because that'd be stupid, because it's basically Predator, kinda. You know what I mean? But it sucks because you gotta get on that franchise name. You couldn't really call it Yautja Badlands because people go, well, what the fuck is that? I've never heard that name. So I really appreciate him for trying, and in my opinion, doing a good job of bringing the Predator franchise to our modern age and making it very accessible for everyone, and world building so that there's more to it than just, whoa, yeah, wasn't it cool seeing them fight the Predator? No, you can go. You start getting people into the lore, and they go, oh man, Yautja Prime this year, that, and the Civil War, and the tournament games, this and that, and just opening the world up and doing more with it. I appreciate that. Predators almost kind of did that. They didn't give you much, though, where it was normal predators versus bad blood predators, and you go, ooh, okay, all right. The Predator, although I hate that movie, did it kind of too, where they go, there's a certain race or clan of predators that just want to enhance themselves with DNA from all these other aliens to just go nuts. And so it's like, yes, you're almost there. Just you keep drip feeding it to me. Just give me more, please. I'm hoping we get a trilogy out of this character deck, and possibly the trilogy ending being Alien versus Predator. But it would be, whatever. Predator Final Wars. And have it be where it's earned the right after enough lore building to go, oh shit, he has to go fight the alien. An alien queen. Whatever. Show me the Xenomorph homeworld. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Just, come on. The ideas are there. But that's going to be it for non-spoilers. I'm going to go into spoilers now. So, right from the beginning. Opening shot reminded me of Dune. Phenomenal. The Mongolian throat music or whatever they were doing fits so amazing with the Predator movies. You get to see Dek meet up with his brother, Quai, and they are sparring, it's like sparring, but it's like, nah, I'm gonna kill you. And so they're doing that. They come back home, a ship lands. Well, I'm sorry. They come back home, which is Quai's ship. And their base, Quai is like, you're too small, like you can't hunt, you're weak. And Dek says, that's the whole point on why I need to do the hunt. Because it's very prey-like. Dek is wanting to prove himself even more because everyone already thinks he's just this dumb, weak, defective predator. So his brother pulls up a hunting map, and it shows the planet and it shows the game. And Dek is like, go back, and he goes, show me that one. And the brother, he's like, oh fuck, that is the death planet, and the thing you're trying to hunt is unkillable, and no one in our race, no alien has ever been able to kill that alien on that planet. He's like, okay, well then I'm gonna go hunt that, because that I have to do that. And then a ship lands, and it's their father, and immediately you can see. So Dek is the younger brother, Quai is the older brother. Dek immediately cuts his hand open, squeezes it to drip blood, and says, it's an honor to have you back, father. While the older brother is just kind of like, uh-huh. And immediately the dad goes, why is he still breathing? And you go, huh? He goes, you should have done it in his sleep. And you go, oh. And the dad basically explains that Dek is the runt of, the tribe, his sons, and that he basically needs to be killed because they have no place to give weaklings a chance. And so the reason why Deck is so small and almost human-like is because he was just born that way. You know, whether it's a genetic defect, whatever, he was just born with a smaller frame for a Yautja. And so his dad's like, nah, kill his ass. And so the brother's like, So the dad pins Deck down with, it's like a laser shackle, and tells the brother, he goes, kill your brother. And right here, you're already getting the great emotional, just CGI on the face. Deck is screaming, calling out, looking at his brother, like the face he's making, just so confused that his brother could kill him. But the brother, says, be brave, breaks the shackles, launches the brother back into their home ship, and then tries to fight off the dad. Unfortunately, gets stabbed through the chest after getting his arm cut off. But right before the dad's about to behead him, he launches the ship from his armrest. And so, as the ship is flying away, the dad cuts the brother's head off and just holds it to taunt Deck. And then the ship flies off. Super, intense beginning. Gets it going. The emotion's there. Bam. And so, he lands on the planet Genna. His ship is not faring well, so he ejects, just like a little motorcycle pod thing. Crashes. The trees start attacking him. He loses basically all of his gear. And then you see him scanning a piece of leaf, and it scans it that it's okay, that he can crush it up and put it on, mend his wounds. And then he picks up a bug to, I think, maybe think about eating, and it starts bubbling up and glowing. And he's like, what the hell? And he throws it, and it blows up like a bomb. And so you really just get to see him wandering around for a minute, figuring out this death planet. And when he gets to the area that Tessa's in, she's in a dinosaur vulture thing's nest, but it's nested on a tiny rock surrounded by these plants. And the whole thing with the plants is that it can sense, it's got like vines all over the ground. So when it can sense when someone's close, and it actually shoots paralyzing quills, which then grow back out of it within seconds. And so he's trying to navigate that. She's telling him, hey, and this is something where I said, okay, they're doing this, and this is okay. Tessa can speak Yautja, because this is at some point in the future where they've encountered Yautjas before, studied their language, so she knows how to speak it, because she's a synth. So she starts speaking Yautja, and it's almost meta, because she's speaking Yautja to him, and then she does a flip and starts speaking English and goes, is that better? It's it's a universal translator, so you're hearing Yautja, but everyone, if we talk to someone else, they'll hear their native language. And it's like, it's almost like you're talking to the audience, but, fair. But then they meet. She has no legs because the thing he's trying to hunt, the Kalisk, her and her sister and the team, or her, synth twin, whatever, try to capture it, and it bit her legs off. And so she's trying to get back to her doppelganger synth. And they talk, she asks him about, like, what happened, this and that. He doesn't want to talk. He's very, sadness is weakness. Grief is weakness. You don't grieve for the dead. You move on. And so she's questioning him. He's kind of questioning her. Then they meet Bud, the monkey dog thing, when they're about to go through what looks like snowed over grass, but it's actually called razor grass. So it's incredibly hard, razor sharp grass. And so he's at first annoyed by Bud because Bud can go through the grass and is trying to hunt some things, but then they end up working together, kind of. it just builds a nice relationship slow enough of cutesy monster thing that wants to help the predator, but the predator doesn't want help. But it's kind of like, okay. Deck talking to Thessa and coming to the realization of a lot of things. Like how she tells him that, okay, like, sure, the Yautja have their clans and the way that they work and the alpha predator, whatever. But then she talks about how on Earth, when you look at a wolf pack, the alpha wolf is an alpha not only because it's strong, but because it takes care of the pack. You know, the whole point is to hunt in packs together, not alone. And so Deck takes that into consideration and thinking about what it actually means to be the alpha predator. You know, not killing your own son to spite your other son, or, you know, killing your family. It's to be with your family. And so I also thought, because he kept repeating wolf, and so in my mind I kept going, are they setting up that he's about to become the wolf predator, kinda? Or, you know, or a new iteration of the wolf predator? Because that would be cool, but who knows? And so this is where I was saying it kind of feels MCU-ish, and predictable, because you know from the beginning, at least me, he meets Thessa, she's going to be able to kind of start introducing him to more of a not human side, but just a more emotional side that's not so black and white. And then they add in the cutesy monkey dog thing to kind of add a layer on top of that. Because you find out Thea and Tessa are synths, but they were given higher subconscious processing by Mother so that they could sympathize and gain the trust of the aliens on the planet. And that's why Thessa, whether she wants to or not, is so happy and almost sweet to Deck, because it's in her programming to try to understand him and be nice to him. And so, of course, you know, when she's kind of like, I used you to get back with my sister and blah blah blah. He gets pissed. He gets captured for a little bit. They're trying to do tests on him, but then Tessa stops it. But then you find out the Kalisk is Bud's mom, and so by then the Predator realizes that the Kalisk basically can't die. He cuts its fucking head off, and it flies off, and it regrows. He cuts any of the limbs off, it instantly regrows. It basically can't die. They do kill it at the end, and even then I kind of went, I mean, wouldn't it just defrost and come back? At the end, Thessa is inside of the Kalisk. I'm sorry, Tia? The bad one. With a frozen grenade thing. Blows it up from the inside, freezes it, and makes it, explode into little pieces. But I kept thinking, I mean, if this shit can go reattach its own head, and I mean, it's almost at like a cellular level. You're telling me once it defrosts, it can't just form itself back together? That would be my assumption. I honestly thought that was going to be the post-credit scene, is that we'd see it, reform itself, because it literally regrows an entire circular, everything. You see it in real time, regrow back everything. So when it died, I kept thinking, isn't it just going to come back? But who knows? But yeah, the Kalisk is Bud's mom, and after the Predator keeps trying to kill it and it won't die, and he's being tested on, realizes it's Bud's mom and everything Thessa said, he starts realizing, okay, you know what? The real predator of this planet is the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. So I'm gonna kill them, and then I'm gonna free the Kalisk that's Bud's mom. So we get a very cool new thing that we haven't seen before. And there's an offset to it, I will mention, but overall, I loved it. So the Predator, after he gets captured and escapes, has no gear because he finds his ship, but the Weyland-Yutani Corporation has already taken all the gear out. So, having learned what he's learned, the Predator makes his own gear. And there were these things he fought earlier. It's like rhinos almost, but he takes their armor plating and makes gear, a mask, chest plate, arms, legs from it. And then earlier he had tried getting through these eels that spit acid by a river. And Tessa showed him that as long as you have, well, I think like dead flies or something, they'll become docile to eat. And so he has one of those eels on his shoulder like a plasma caster. So he's got this cool homemade. It was just so great to see the Predator using his surroundings to hunt. And so he's got the eel on his shoulder like a plasma caster, shooting acid at synths. It's so cool. They also try weirdly making it so emotional when the eel sacrifices itself to save Deck. And it's this emotional score, and it zooms in on the eel dying, and I went, it was both. I was like, I'm kind of in disbelief that you're making it this emotional, but also kudos to you that you made it this emotional. The only thing that kind of doesn't make sense is when he goes back to the Predator ship, which is his brother's ship. He finds his brother's mask had been hidden away, and he looks at it, and the next scene is when he's with, he has that homemade armor. And as much as I love the homemade armor, I thought he was going to wear his brother's mask as a, I've learned a lot in the days that I've been here, and I feel honored to wear my brother's mask. So I thought it would be the homemade gear, but the, classic Predator mask, which the Predator mask that him and his brother wear look a lot different than normal masks. They're not as wide. They're very long. But they didn't do that, so I was just a tad bit confused by that. But awesome, good fight with the synths. I did keep thinking, okay, they're probably going to do the Calyx fight early because something else is going to happen. And I kept thinking, well, he still has to go home and fight his dad unless they're setting that up for some other movie. But the movie kept going. I kept thinking, damn, isn't this like the end of the movie? Are we going to get back to the dad? And then they fly back to Yautja Prime. I was like, oh, dang. So it's about to be just like a 5-minute little thing, which it is. I wish they had a little bit more of a back and forth. Sadly, they don't. But you do get to see a cool fight between him and his dad. How he outsmarts his dad. And then his dad's like, oh, I killed perhaps I did spare the right brother. And he's like, Deck, yield, and you'll be welcome back home. And then Bud, which I don't know how much time has passed, but Bud is huge now and bites the dad's head off. And Deck takes his dad's cloak, tries out the invisibility. And then Tessa says something. Basically, that's their new clan, because that's what Deck tells his dad. He goes, "I have my own clan." So it's Deck, Tessa, and now a ginormous Bud. And it ends. The title credits go, and then 5 seconds later, a bunch of the Predators that were in the dad's clan's building come out. And then they look off in the horizon, and there's a Predator ship coming, just like the one that looks from Killer of Killers. And at first I thought, oh shit, are they about to meet the samurai, the guy, and the guy escaping from the tournament, and they're heading this way. But no, Deck goes, "That's my mom." And you go, oh, shit. Because in movie-wise, we've never seen a female Predator, Yautja. So I'm very curious to see what that looks like. Because, there's been plenty of comics where it's like humans, like a human woman joining the Predator clan in Predator armor, and stuff like that. So I'm very fascinated to see that. Do I kind of wish it was the Killer of Killers crew? Yes. Would it have made sense? Not really. So, the story being told, closed and finished, with a nice little stinger for a second movie. It's gotten great reviews. It's been making good money. We're getting a second movie. I promise you, we're getting a second movie. If we don't, then I'll look like a fool. But it's gotten good reviews, made good money, owned by Disney. You kidding me? They're gonna franchise the shit out of this. So, I'm excited for it. Can't wait to see what's coming out. I strongly go recommend that you watch it, and I will definitely be buying this on Blu-ray. I didn't really care for the popcorn buckets. They had the Predator head. You'd think what they would do is it would be the Predator head without the mask on, and the mouth would be open. You pour the popcorn and just take it. His mandibles would be open. You're like, yeah, take it out of there. No. And one was like Quay's ship. There was a cup that looked pretty cool. It was like a textured Predator cup. That looked cool. But, But, yeah. Can't recommend it enough. Fun time. Good time. Go watch it. But until next time, that is going to be it for me. I'm out.